everyone, it's Nicole for Lawn Fawn, and today I have a new card share showcasing the Critters on the Farm stamp set and dies, as well as some of the standalone Lawn Fawn dies and the Clark's ABCs stamp set. I shared a card here a couple weeks ago on the Lawn Fawn blog with the Clark's ABCs and the Critters on the Farm stamp set, where I made my own greeting, kind of a play on words type greeting for a card. And at the time, I had made a whole list of other fun farm related greetings that I thought would be kind of funny and fun for a card. And I thought I would go ahead and make a video showing how I'm coloring in my critters with Copic markers, and then how I created my own greetings using this alphabet stamp set. So just a fun little card. I think these cards are kind of fun. Oftentimes we might forget about making some of those funnier cards, and this is one of them that I just thought the play on words was really cute, and would be appropriate for someone who's having a bad day or something like that. So I am coloring in my cow. I wanted my cow to remain kind of a black and white, but yet I didn't want to leave it solid white. So I'm using some warm grays to warm up those white areas a bit, and then blending them out pretty good with the W00 and even a little of the Zero colorless blender, which does not actually blend if you aren't familiar with Copics. It's called a blender pen, but it does not really blend. It rather kind of moves the ink away from that area. I find it works really good if you're blending really, really light colors like that W00 or W1. You can kind of whiten up some of those areas. It will move those gray inks. It will move any inks. So keep that in mind if you haven't used Copics much before. I'm adding a little pink there to my cow as well, and going over it with some warm grays to warm it up and make it not quite so bright pink. And then I'm coloring in the cowbell that I will hang from the cow's neck. Adding a little warm gray to the bell as well, just to warm it up and add some shading and darkness. I also have a couple of pieces of fence here. I wanted to create a fence border. The fence is not a border stamp, as you can see, but you can make it such or make it appear as such, as I will show you, by stamping multiple pieces and working them together. Again, I wanted my fence to be white, but you don't want to leave it stark white. Adding a few light grays will really help give it a more realistic look, and still, when you look at it, it will make it appear as if it is white. I also am going to color in this little bird with some browns. I'm just using colors that I already had lying out, really. Used a little warm gray for the stomach to keep it lighter, blending out my browns here. And then I decided I wanted it to have a touch of red, so I went in with my dark garnet red, and I'll blend that back out too. I took the Sakura white gel pen to add some little white dots to the stomach of the bird. I die cut it first, and then I did that. I'm using a little post-it tape to keep my dies in place so I can die cut those without them shifting. And after I had colored in the cow and the bell and the fence pieces and the bird, I thought I really needed a few more characters. So I'm going to color in some little chicks, the chicken, and the hay bale as well. Keeping my chicken mostly white here, so just adding again those warm grays to warm it up, give it a little depth and dimension with some shadowing. Not a whole lot. For my hay bale, I really wanted it to have the appearance of hay, so I'm using the feathering technique to apply my 3 colors of Copic markers, and using that feathering technique to just feather in the color to give it the illusion of being actual hay. This really gives it some depth and dimension. Went back over it with my lighter yellow color just to help blend out some of those harsher brown lines. Went over my chicken again too. That's one of the great things about Copic markers is that you can go over your image as many times as you need to get the look that you want. I'm going to go ahead and die cut all of those pieces now for my card. Not only the images that I have stamped and colored, but I need several borders using the Lawn Fawn Grassy Borders die. And it didn't cut all the way, so I'm going to run it through again and use my metal shim to help get a really good cut. I cut 3 layers for the grass, 2 from the green leaf cardstock from Simon Says Stamp and 1 from the green apple. They're all going to be varying heights. I don't have to worry about that quite yet. I'll show you how I got them all different heights and still retained that fun stitched border from the large journaling card die from Lawn Fawn. I just simply cut my borders first from these scraps of green cardstock. Then I have a piece of sea glass scrap paper, and I'm taking that large stitched journaling card die, and it's actually a 4x6 die, but I'm just cutting it, leaving one side straight, and that's going to be the top of my card. Then I'm going to layer the rest of these grass pieces near the bottom. I have already run those through my die cutting machine using the large stitched journaling card die, so you can see they have that stitched element along the sides and then the bottom. This is a great way to really make the whole design cohesive and blend together really nicely. I'm adding some little googly eyes to the cow with the matte medium from Ranger. And I'll be using this speech bubble border die at the top of my card for my custom greeting in a little bit. Now here is where I'm hiding that fence behind my cow. It gives the illusion of the fence going all the way across the back of my card without actually having to stamp and color and die cut 3 pieces and piece them together. I could have done that if I needed to, but because the cow was going to be in the way, there was really no need to do that extra step. So I've adhered those directly to the stitched journaling card die cut piece. Then I used some foam adhesive on the green apple grassy border, and then another piece of foam adhesive on the first layer of green leaf grass. I'm using a little foam adhesive behind just the top portion of the cow to adhere that to my card, so that because that part's going to overlap the base layer, that back layer, and I wanted it to be flush since I'm tucking the cow into the grass. And I did cut a little slit around the cow's ear so that I could wrap this thin string around, and I poked my needle through the top of the cowbell and then strung that on there as a fun little accent to my cow. Again, using that matte medium underneath the knot around the cow's neck and behind the cowbell to hold it in place. Go ahead and secure my little brown bird to the fence post and add those white dots to the tummy there. Now I need a few more elements to complete my scene. So I'm die cutting the sunshine and some clouds using the Lawn Fawn Spring Showers dies. I cut the sun from the Simon Says Stamp lemon cardstock, and then the clouds from just a scrap of Nina White cardstock. And these are all just going to serve as to add interest near the top of my card behind the vellum greeting. I could have done the greeting on a solid piece of cardstock or just left it as is up at the top of the card, but I thought with so much going on near the bottom of the card, the top of the card needed a little bit of color too. Now I've die cut another piece using the large stitched journaling card die from Vellum, and then I used the speech bubble border die to cut that bottom edge with the speech bubble little notch. I'm going to secure my sunshine and clouds directly to the background of my card. Trim off that excess along the sides. And then I'm going to grab my vellum piece and I'm ready to start creating my custom greeting. I'm using a little Versamark ink and the Clark's ABCs from Lawn Fawn to spell the sentiment "Manure Happens." Pretty quick and easy to create your own. I like to always start with the middle letter of the word and work my way out, however that may be, wherever you want the center to end up for your word. And I did not stamp my letters in an exact straight line. Instead, I did it a little bit more haphazard for a little bit more fun, playful look. I'm going to use some red embossing powder from American Crafts for the greeting. And then there is a greeting in the Critters on the Farm stamp set that says "Hey there," with hay like a bale of hay. And I thought it would be fun to add that above the custom sentiment, and then I heat set that, or I used some black embossing powder and heat set that whole thing and glued it to the front of my card over those clouds and the sunshine. To continue with my custom greeting, I'm going to go ahead and add the greeting on the inside using some black ink and the Clark's ABCs stamps. And the greeting is going to read, "Tomorrow is an udder day." So just a fun little play on words. I think it's kind of funny and cute and just one of those cards that would make you smile to receive it. So I'll finish stamping the custom greeting and then I'm going to go ahead and put together the rest of my card. I have a few more critters to add plus that last layer of grassy border. Get this all stamped out. So I've added that last grassy border. I'm going to add the hay bale there behind it. Adding all of these little layers gives you great places to tuck little elements and pieces to really give your card a dimensional look. Tucking some of those. I need to add a little foam adhesive behind the chicken as well. Adding the chicks with glue dots and the hay bales hanging off the edge. I'll trim the excess off of that and off the top of my card as well, and then I will apply that to my white card base. And my card is finished. I hope you've enjoyed this video showcasing creating your own fun sentiment play on words, and also this Critters on the Farm stamp set and dies. Thanks for watching.